With all the failures we've seen from Disney Star Wars over the past few years, the disappointing Obi-Wan Kenobi series that pushed fans away, the joke that was the Book of Boba Fett, and then of course the massive flop that was Mandalorian Season 3, resulting in almost half the audience walking away, Lucasfilm made it very clear that they're going all in on Ahsoka, a massive marketing campaign, fan events, and even changing the debut time of the premiere to 9 p.m. on a Tuesday to try to get some sort of engagement and excitement about this series. All of it was an absolute failure. We found out yesterday that when you look at the households, when you look at the ratings for the Ahsoka series, it's half of that of the Obi-Wan Kenobi series, and it's fallen off by nearly a third of the audience from the failure that was Mandalorian Season 3. Ahsoka viewing numbers are well below the Mandalorian and Obi-Wan Kenobi. And in fact, we found out that it's tied with Andor in terms of viewership. This is a catastrophic failure for Disney, and now they're already doing damage control. One day after these ratings were revealed, Disney Star Wars is desperate to do damage control. Look at this. Thank you to the best fans in the galaxy. Ahsoka draws 14 million views for the first episode. They even put out a press release on StarWars.com. Lucasfilm and the Walt Disney Company are thrilled and humbled to announce that Part 1 of Ahsoka, Master and Apprentice, was the most watched title on Disney Plus this week. I would fucking hope so. It was basically the only thing that you released that was new. The debut episode garnered 14 million views, making the series #1 globally on the streaming platform. And then a big speech from Kathleen Kennedy, who, by the way, is still president of Lucasfilm, saying, "We feel so incredible and thank you to the fans." Well, guess what? If it seems weird that they announced a number like this, it's because it's the first time in history that they've done it. Disney Plus has never put a number, a view number on anything like this before. And for the first time, they're doing it. It's because they are desperate to try to counteract the bad news, the terrible news about the ratings, a 30% drop from Mandalorian Season 3, only half of the viewership that Obi-Wan Kenobi had. That's what the reality is for Ahsoka. And now they are trying to put a number out there that no one can reference to anything. We don't know the numbers for Andor. We don't know the numbers for Mandalorian or Book of Boba Fett or Obi-Wan. Nothing. They've never put out a number like this before in history. And now they're expecting people to run with this as some sort of success. It reminds me a lot of what Lord of the Rings did for Rings of Power. After those first set of ratings, the third-party ratings came out and were like, yeah, this is a massive disappointment. It doesn't even stack up against House of the Dragon and all these other things. What did Amazon do? Well, for the first time in their history, they put out a random number. Lord of the Rings of Power was watched by more than 25 million globally, Amazon says, on the first day. Now Disney Plus is claiming 14 million. And what does that really mean? They take the total watch time and divide it by the runtime of the episode to get that view number. It is wild to me that they actually came out and are trying to put a number on this to make it look impressive. And it's because the actual numbers that we have, the actual numbers that we can compare to other things, are so disappointingly bad for them. Take a look at this. Samba TV reports that the live plus 5-day viewership of the first episode of Ahsoka drew 1.2 million households. This second episode clocked in at 956,000 households, which means, by the way, that about a quarter of the audience watched the first episode and didn't even bother watching the second, just to be clear. Ahsoka's first episode ratings are even with the first episode of the Tony Gilroy-created Star Wars series Andor, which pulled 1.2 million households. However, it's down 50% from Obi-Wan Kenobi, and it's down 29% versus Mandalorian Season 3, the thing that literally just came out not that long ago. That, in the same time frame, was watched by 1.7 million households. So Disney's out here putting out numbers that you can't reference to anything because they've never released any numbers like this in a desperate attempt to try to get some goodwill and to do damage control for this failure. I told you guys that everything was riding on this, that they were going to go all in on Ahsoka. They need it to be a success. And now that it's not, they're desperate to go in full spin mode, putting out these numbers that you can't compare to anything else. I'm sure that's going to trick a few dumb people, a few retarded people into believing that this is a success for them. But the reality is, this is a massive disappointment, and that is why they're so desperate to spin this in their favor right now. The Ahsoka series in its debut, in its premiere, was a colossal disappointment and a failure for Disney Star Wars. Let me know your thoughts about all this in the comments section below. Smash a like button, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell for notifications, share this video out there, and I'll talk to you later.